where growth is intentional and impact is inevitable. So we ask that you don't just watch, engage with us. Don't just listen, but learn with us. And don't just sit back. Come take a seat at the table, because we are just getting started.
Good evening, and good evening to each of you, and welcome back to another episode of Broadcasting Results with Rouse. Tonight, we have two dynamic yet outstanding young leaders who have pretty much proven that you don't have to wait till you get older to make a difference. And I love that about both of them. When I think about leadership, it's not necessarily about age. It's simply about just having the willingness to serve. And so whether you're volunteering, mentoring, attending meetings, voting, starting a business, whether you're organizing events, or simply just helping a neighbor, every act of kindness is helpful to strengthen your community. So tonight, we want to be talking, or going to be talking about why young people matters, why your voice matters, and how every person can be a part of the solution. And so tonight, you all, I'll welcome Ms. Jasmine Shaw and Mr. Jeremiah Jackson to the platform. How are you all?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing good.
Good, good, good. The one thing before we get started that I do love about both of them is they are indeed hard workers, even in their own profession, 9 to 5. And I love the fact that they still desire to be a part of the platform no matter where they're at, still working, still traveling. So, again, I just want to say thank you both. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Jasmine. For those that simply don't know you or may do know you, if you could just tell us again briefly who you are and your background and what drives your passion for serving others?
Okay, well, my name is Jasmine Shaw. I lived in Winsburg County, Salters for majority of my life. I am a military veteran, Army. Um, I grew up in Winsburg County schools. I decided to join the military back in 2009. From there, I came back home, did my schooling, got a couple of degrees, and now I'm a small business owner of Easy Way Mobile Phlebotomy Service, where we travel and do lab work on your per your convenience. And just this past March, I filed to run for District 6 candidate for County Council. Unfortunately, I lost by just 45 votes, but that is still a win on my side. And since then, I've been still engaging with the community, still trying to bring things forth. Um, at the end of the day, because I lost the votes, the goal is still the same. So I have not stepped back. I'm still doing what I have been doing, but just pressing forward.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Mr. Jeremiah, if you
Yes.
could just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as well.
So my name is Jeremiah Jackson. And, well, what I do started off as a welder. And now I'm in sales, working for my company. I kind of track all over. That's why you kind of see my is now actually just commuting to Charlotte. But I decided to pull over just to be here, just to have this opportunity to talk on your show, Miss Turquoise. Really do. I'm very thankful. But I had heavily involved in community engagement early on. Been a part of the NAACP for approximately about 6 years. Just I I used to I still do listen to a guy named Brown, and the message. One day I heard it while I was on the way to work, and he said your gift or your tie back to the universe service. And he said what we do for others and what we do for our community is our tie back to the universe. And that kind of stuck with me, and that made me want to get back involved to make the community that I'm in a better place. I believe doing so and having that attitude to want to serve and being a part of something bigger than yourself uh, very remarkable. So a little bit about me, and I guess as we continue this conversation, you hear little droplets of other parts of me as well.
Thank you for that. I could hear you for the most part, but I just want to make sure because I see there's a comment that said you're breaking up just a little bit. So I just want to, let you know that as well. However, I appreciate what you've shared and to Miss Jasmine as well. Um, and I love the way she said, her work haven't stopped. Back in March, she filed as a candidate for county council seat, in which you also
Oh
partook
yeah,
in
right.
political arena at one point too. And again, I love the way you quoted that the work doesn't stop. You're definitely making sure you put it back into the universe. And so I definitely thank you for sharing that. So to the both of you all, what does community actually mean to you? And I go
Um,
to Jasmine. You can go first.
okay. Well, for me, community means several different things. Some people think community is just the people who you're around. I think community is whoever you encounter, even those that you don't encounter. Because you run into people every day. It's just like the relationships that you grow with people. Things that's genuine, unique. Community is not only just about just serving, like I said, in one area. It's all over the place. It's all of the people that you meet, anybody that you come interact with. For me, that's community.
Thank you. Mr. Jeremiah, would you like to add?
Yes, sir, I totally agree 100%. It's the individuals that you come across. Just my and I didn't mention it at first, but I did run for town council of Andrews. That was a great experience. But even before then, my experience being with the double, even helping with early voting and voting,
Yeah.
it's just to see what our what is transpiring in our day-to-day community, where you go into parts of your community, see different things that you like it could be better. And I think that's, when you talk about community and serving, those are the you kind of think about, and that makes you want to be a part of, is to make someone else's life better, to make your community better. And the only way that can happen, I tell people all the time, it's easy to talk on the fence, but there's a
Yeah.
whole different outs on in the actual field, working and putting in that work to be able to make it better. Anybody can complain, but it takes
Absolutely.
you out there and make things happen for others.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. You say that, and I often say you either going to be on the sideline or in the game. And
And
sometimes that sideline noise can be very loud.
mm,
So you got to check into the game and actually,
yeah.
move and play at the same notion. So I appreciate you both for that. But, as you all was talking, I was sitting here thinking about young people. And sometimes I encounter that sometimes they, I guess to say, feel that they could be underestimated to the impact in which they may have um, in society itself. And so, what do you believe, as young people, given yourself, um, do you believe young people are underestimated in regards to their impact that they can give to the society and or to the community? And I love the way you, Jasmine, so I'm gonna start with you. I love the way you just describe community, like not one particular area, is pretty much whoever you encounter. And so, what do you believe as young people in regards to being underestimated?
So speaking personally, I actually experienced this in my running for campaign. Um, I knew earlier on going in that there were things about myself or maybe that I had experienced in life that would come up. And like when we're growing up in school, they'll say whatever you do in school, it'll follow you for all your years. And I believe that people don't give you a fair chance. They think that you are what you used to be. Like there's no room for growth. So in my candidacy and running, I learned that young people have way more to offer. It's just the simple fact that we are scared of actually putting ourselves out there. And I use myself as an example because, like I said, there were so many things that people could have said about me, and they did not want to believe that there was growth or change, and they didn't think that I could do the things that I did. But I go down to the voting on June 9th of the primary when the numbers came in, early voting. I rocked the boat on that. We was waiting on our last precinct in Sandy Bay, and that's actually where we, did our, low numbers. But it's shown for a first time female, my age, 35, because I consider myself still young but seasoned, I did a very great job, and it surprised a lot of people. So I would say to all the young people, no matter what you've been through, where you came from, don't be afraid to step out and show people what your attributes and your skills are, because inevitably somebody's looking and somebody's going to pick up on that, and it'll broaden your horizon for other things. So I would say keep going. Young people, don't be afraid. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't allow somebody to tell you what you can't do because of your background, because you're awesome, you're great. You won't know what you can do unless you try. So I would say give it a try and don't be afraid.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was indeed a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love that you are very open and
Yeah.
transparent. And the other thing is being willing to give yourself.
Oh yeah.
Most time when we are out here in society, we are one underestimated. Number two, as you mentioned, as a
Yeah, you're
young
calling him.
female, um, you look at the way the movement is, and
Mama!
you can tell yourself, if this is going to be a platform or an arena in which we want to serve our people, why do we have to feel like we have to use someone's coming up or someone's experience throughout terms to dictate whether they
Yeah.
should or shouldn't? I feel like that's a way of growth. I
Oh
also
yeah.
feel like if you have to use that, then I ask the question, where is the credibility in yourself?
Yeah.
When we talk about integrity, where is that within yourself if you have to feel like you have to do that to um down someone to up yourself? But Michelle Obama said it best. When they go low, you always remember to go high. And
Oh
so
yes.
I just appreciate you staying on the high road, because long term that's going to be very beneficial towards what you want to do and accomplish over time.
Yeah,
Um,
most definitely.
but also here when I kind of talk about young people, because they are needed.
Oh yeah.
I often hear, that young people are the future. We can
Oh
both
yeah.
say that. You have young kids and I have young nephews, and they are the future. But we also want to believe that, are we, making the right impact right now for their
Yeah.
future? When
Right.
you talk about, when you went in as far as running, like what you were pretty much going into, and you also knew that, hey, maybe this is going to be said or that's going to be said.
Yeah.
There, try this, maybe try that, but we didn't back down to it, right?
Oh
Um,
no.
so it also shows your confidence.
Yeah.
But when we talk about young people and we do see people encounter such manner, you also ask yourself, well, how do we see the young people behaving any other way if we got to if we got to
Yeah.
do this, but yet we're sharing light that, hey, our young people need to do this, but this is the way we are presenting ourselves. Then I question, who are you really trying to impact? Um,
Yes.
and
That
so
was that was great.
so in saying that, why do you think, young people feel disconnected from community involvement?
Again, like you said, nothing is wrong with the old school way of approaching, situations. However, when time changes, so does people. Things are changing. So communication style is totally different now into 2026 than it was back in the day, as people like to say. So you have to kind of sort of get on people level, so that they're receptive to what you're saying, because you want them to be able to understand, number one, because a lot of people listen just to hear, they're not listening to understand. And so if you're talking up here, on a college level, you may have a kid that's just not really understanding that. So you get on the level of the way that they communicate, i.e., with their friends or their, close family members, and in a respectful manner. But that's an easier way to kind of get in their ear and get them to better understand what you're trying to say, because all of our understanding is totally different. So I would say, like I've been saying on my campaign trail, you have to meet people where they are, and you can't be too big or too small to go down wherever you need to go. If you need to go up to the president's ball, you need to dress presidential. If you need to go to the schoolhouse, then you put on, you look nice, you look dapper. And if you go into an old folks' home, you might need to talk a little smaller, a little slower and a little louder. So you just adapt to whatever situation you're in to be able to be receptive and perceptive to those individuals.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I tend to say that as well. You got to meet people where they are, especially our
Yeah.
young people. And,
Yeah.
like you say, what we do today isn't 20 yet. It's not even
Yeah.
5 years ago, if we want to
Yeah.
be very technical. But you have to be willing to meet the young people where they are. And I tell people all the time, seasonal, older, I get you have a method about how you roll out things and do things.
Yeah.
But if you're not adjusting it that it would be fitting to our young people, it's going to pretty much be non-void because it's going to go over their head and they're not going to connect to it. Just as you said, if you're going to the school, presidential, wherever you may go, you got to be willing to change that. And sometimes as leaders, you don't always have to take the front. You got to be
Yeah.
willing to say, I want to be a part or
Yeah.
involved, but whoever needs to push, be in front, do whatever to
Yeah.
make this happen, be willing to do that. Don't tear
Yeah.
it down or try to do sidebar things just because you're not the lead on it. Or you're
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
we got to be willing to meet the people where they are. And
Oh,
so
of course. Yeah, you have to kind of like you said, sometimes it's good to be in the back because you can't always see someone's full potential if they're always following. You have to allow people to lead. So sometimes if you give these kids the foundation to step out there, you never know how much they might like something like that. So if you give, say, if they're doing something, you support them, you give them your full support, and that support itself will skyrocket. It gives them a whole different another feeling, saying, okay, I have someone in my corner that's doing something in their eyes, and that'll give them more ambition to just keep moving forward. So just give them a chance.
thank you, thank you. And
Yeah.
to you, Mr. Jeremiah, thank you for staying in tune with us. I know you are traveling back to another engagement, but thank you as well for being a part of the conversation. And so we're just talking about just the involvement of young people and kind of meeting them where they are. But I also want to go into just something you all hit on early on about civil engagement. And so when we talk about or we think about, sometimes people hear the word civil engagement, immediately some people think politics.
Yeah.
Um, but civil engagement is a little bigger than that. We can talk about pointers when we're talking about volunteering, mentoring, supporting local businesses, serving on
Yeah.
nonprofit boards, attending community meetings, neighborhood cleanups, and the list can go on and on.
Yeah.
Um, but because you all have been a part of the campaign trail, you've seen it, you've heard it,
Yeah.
you've witnessed it, and it also provided growth for the both of you all. And so I would pose the question to you because we also want other young people to hear from you to understand what is civil engagement to you when you hear
Mm.
that.
So for me, civil engagement is like you said, volunteering. For me, sometimes I do things just naturally, not knowing that I'm serving, because that's just the kind of um just what I have in me. I was just born with service. So a lot of times I find myself around people having conversations, and it's not intentional. It's just conversations come up and we end up having flourishing conversations where we both leave with something. And it's no matter the age range, the age gap, whatever it is. But civil engagement for me is just putting yourself there. Where you see a need and you're able to help, because we can't go outside our means, but if you see that there's a need and you're able to help and it's something that you like to do, step out there and do it. Civil engagement, um, getting out there in the community. A lot of things are going on. Just showing your face, being that support for people in whatever capacity that is, if and when you're able. Getting things out there. If you find things out, for instance, I'm a business owner myself, so there are some things that I didn't know 4 years ago when I first started my business that I know so well now, and so it's like we're not crabs in a bucket. There's so many people out here that's probably doing the same job that I'm doing. Why should I allow you to stumble over the same things that I stumble over if I have the knowledge? So I think civil engagement also is sharing knowledge, making sure everyone can have the chance to get up, not holding things or being those gatekeepers to knowledge and information. It's just getting out there, engaging with people and making yourself available and helping whichever way you can, in my opinion.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I know Mr. Jeremiah was trying to come back in, and he's trying to get in
Yeah.
a good connection area. So I also want to go in when we talk about silver engagement because this year here is obviously, like you said, voting season. And
Yeah.
just this past June, you had an opportunity to witness that firsthand. And
Yeah.
so we talk about silver engagement in regards to getting young people involved in the voting process.
Mhm.
Um, I'm sure you've heard it on your trail, because I've heard it. Young people's like, I don't get involved in that politics stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't do that. The saying is,
Yeah.
if you don't do politics, politics will do you.
Will do you? Yes.
And so politics, we live with it every day, whether we want to get directly involved with it or indirectly. When we talk
Yeah.
about, our housing, our schools, our roads, infrastructure, new development in our area, like all of that is it. And so whether
Yeah.
we want to be in politics or not deal with politics, one way or the other, it is that. And
It
so
is
I
that. Yeah.
pose a question to you when we talk about young people, like how do we get our young people um, registered to vote, or more so interested in the voting process? Like, what have been some of your experiences over your campaign?
Actually, I think I did pretty good with the young voters this election in June. Um, Unfortunately, the position that I ran for was just a district wide position, and I was kind of overwhelmed with all of the people that were calling. It was like, Jasmine, you're not on my ballot. You're not on my ballot. And I'm like, you know what? This one is just for district wide. But I just think being your authentic self, when you're not trying to act like you're something you're not, um, it gravitates people towards you. I've always prided myself in, there's no need for me to lie because whatever happened in the dark is going to come out in the light, and there's nothing for me to hide. I have my vices. Have made mistakes. There's things that I'm probably not so proud of that I've done in my life, but that comes with growing up and evolving and just becoming more responsible. So I think I did pretty good, but what I would say, maybe what I would continue to do or try to get others to do, again, is get out there and talk to these young people because the more they flourish and the older they get, when you start gaining responsibilities like owning homes and cars, you automatically fall into politics because now these things directly start to affect you when you start to have kids. So I don't think necessarily it's just the sense of them not wanting to deal with it. They're just maybe not in situations where they have to. So
Mm,
once they start, getting maturity, because maturity is everything. So once you mature a little bit and you start to see how the world is moving around you and how it really does affect you, then now you want to use your voice to try to make some changes. But until maybe people get in those situations, then they don't really see the validity of, how strong and what their voices really matter, in these situations. So I think with time, and actually just having those conversations, because a lot of people, they don't know a lot about politics.
mhm,
So if you just sit down sometime and just, you got to take these things that they like to do or things that they're surrounded by and give them just a synopsis of what politics or how politics may move in that situation. And so when stuff directly begins to affect people, then they become more interested. So
mhm.
you just have to let people know, inform them and give them education on what's really going on because half of the time they really don't know, and that's why they're not engaged.
Right. And I totally agree with you. Something you said earlier, you talk to them up here or you
Yeah.
come in, um, suits, ties, dress fancy,
Yeah.
young people looking at you like you're not on my
Yeah,
level.
like yeah, they like what?
Yeah,
I'm not
like
wearing no
I need
suit,
you to
so
tone it down a little bit.
yeah,
Come down
yeah,
and like you said, you got to be willing to build that rapport
yeah,
often to them so that they can feel comfortable to engage with you.
yeah,
And so I agree with everything you said. Being a young individual as well, you look at some of those experiences, like you said, you've learned over the years, and it's all about growth.
all about it.
And the one thing about, I would say, the experiences we had over time is we can be open to say that, hey, I've been there where you are or
Yeah,
where you once was, and it's okay. It's all about wanting to move forward in a better direction that will help benefit our environment, our community, and even to our young people, whether it's directly kids of our own and
yeah,
or our neighborhood kids. If you want better for it, we got to be willing to do better. And like you say, it's just having that conversation with our young people. Um, so I also want to go to, what do you see directly? Your Williamsburg County, Jeremiah is Georgetown County. we're leading up to the general, which will be in November, and we have a number of statewide candidates that will be back on the ballot, as well as some local school board seats and a House seat. So we have a lot of seats that would be back on the ballot for November. And right now, like you say, the fact that some young people may just don't know. How could us as a community, you feel, work together so that regardless of whether it's us as young people, older seasonal people, like what do you feel like will help bridge that gap?
Um, I would say with everything that happened in my campaign and campaigning, and like I said, overwhelmingly how much support that I've gotten, I would say I'm not bitter. So I like I said, the goal is still the same. So what I would say for me, knowing that my opponent, he was there for 16 years, I offer up myself for help because at the end of the day, you could be good at making policies or this, and that, and the third, but you're still the leader of your community members. And so you still have to interact and engage with these people to see where they're at because these decisions are not just made just alone on how you feel and the way that you live. So I would just say, still engage with them. I do my due diligence, and I try to let people know. I heard a pastor say, one of my pastors at church, he said that um, some people go through life and there's a period. Others go through and it's a comma. You have to understand the difference between the two. At a period, at the end of the sentence, that means everything stops. Where I'm at in my life is a comma. It was just a halt. It's just a standstill for a second, but the goal is still the same. And the votes, although you want the votes to actually get the seat does not make me a winner. What makes me a winner is that I stay steadfast in the things that I said that I was going to do. I'm never changing about it. I'm still going to live my life, of course, but I still do have a passion for service, and that never changes and that never goes away. So once you stick yourself out there to do certain things, you don't draw your hand back. You keep moving forward because in the long run, maybe that wasn't what you were supposed to do. That was just for you to get yourself out there to open other doors, so that you can be beneficial in other ways, bigger ways. So for me, I'm in the comma phase, and I'm just waiting to see what's next for me. And I'm going to continue to engage with my community. I'm going to continue to be there when I can. I'm going to continue to answer my phone when I get calls. And as far as voting goes, voting is still important. Um, Somebody called me the other day to ask me if they were able to write me in November, and I said, hey, when you get there, if you write it in there, I say, listen, because people want what they want, and although things went the way that they went, we have to show people that it's time out for stagnation. Like there's no time to stay stagnant on one thing. We can't continue to keep doing that because we won't grow. And if the whole thing is to grow, then hey, if you're not able to produce some things, do some things, then we got to figure some other stuff out. But at the same time, I'm not afraid or in disagreement with standing alongside my opponent either. I lost by the votes, but if he ever should need me to help him to connect with the community and the younger generation, I'm just a phone call away. So I would say I'm just going to continue to do my best and do what I need to do. And I'm just a phone call away if they ever need me to step in or try to do some things. Because service is what I do.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And
Yeah.
very, very well said. And
Yeah.
one of the comments said here definitely that your past does not determine your future. I appreciate that comment very much.
Yeah.
And it does matter. It's a big effort in our community that we continue to move forward.
Oh,
Both
yeah.
of you and I share the same experience of running for a political office at one point. And again, you take that little break to regroup,
Oh, yeah.
and you continue to press on. At the end of the day, your why. And I always say that when you can define your why and whatever effort it is, you continue to move forward with that. And I love the way you said it. And I've heard that so much, even to me, as encouraged, like, hey, maybe that was not the timing, maybe
Yeah.
that was just to plant the seed. Now
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to continue to water it because you never know what flower may bloom out of it. And
Oh, yeah.
so you're very appreciative of that. Mr. Jeremiah, are you back with us?
He's back.
I do apologize.
Listen, Listen,
It's been a character building day all day.
Yeah,
it's okay.
okay.
I appreciate you being willing to try to connect back. We were kind of
Yeah.
just talking a little bit about civil engagement and kind of went into the terms of how do we get our young people, including all of us being young by
Yeah.
far, involved with the voting process. And Ms. Jasmine definitely went into details about sharing her experience and what that looked like. And I love the way she put it. I know I'm not going to say it exactly like you, Jasmine, but when it was all said and done for her, she didn't succeed, you didn't succeed, nor I, but she didn't draw her hands back. She realized, hey, let me regroup and let me continue to move forward. And if it's ever an opportunity where I could lean a helping hand, that's definitely what she wants to do. And I love the way she also described the fact that, everybody's strengths may be different. And hers definitely being able to know that she got in and was pretty much able to meet the young people where they are. And while in certain areas we understand with voting, in certain areas, voting numbers may be high in one and maybe low in the other, and that's okay too. She realized pretty much what she brought to the table and pretty much what she took away from the table, and that's her meeting the people where they are. And so, to you, we'll see how much of your connection stays with us. But what would be your feedback in regards to civil engagement and kind of getting our young people energized about voting?
Um, well, thank you. Please forgive me. Please, please, please forgive me. But I know Miss Jasmine, she did terrific. But if you're
Yeah.
asking me, I would simply say finding something for them to vote for.
Yeah.
I think if we give them a why on why it's important, and tell them how it can affect them or they can benefit from it in the long term. I think that will really get young people, because if you look at young people, it's just about, sometimes in their world it's about what they can get from it, and
Yeah.
so you got to give them a why. You can't just say vote because this is what it is. This is what it is. But if you tell them why it's important, who fought for it, who paved the way for them to even vote, who why you where you at today was oh no.
Okay. He's trying to get some more connection, but I love the way he was leading with that
Yeah.
in regards to the why. And kind of giving them that notion of, accountability at the end of the day. Like, if you vote, if you don't, here's the consequences with either or.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely a way to lead when we're talking about young people. And the one thing I would share with Jeremiah about Jeremiah, he wears several hats in regards to his capacity with working with young people. Are you back with us, Jeremiah? While he work day to day, as he mentioned, as a welder, he also in the faith-based community works very heavily with young people, and that's where a lot of the civil engagement yet voting kind of stem for, and talk more of directly in our churches. And are you with us, Jeremiah? And I would just give him a few more minutes, but I do definitely just thank him for just being willing to lead that in regards to the why, um, and getting our young people more involved, to hear their voices. Sometimes they don't always necessarily see the decision right then and there. Sometimes you got to be willing to walk with them along the way so that they can understand it
Yeah.
by and by. Is there anything else you want to share to that notion, Jasmine?
No, I just agree with what he said about giving the young people a why. Because I mean, and that's older people too. People don't want to vote for things that they're not going to benefit from. So you can't just say, "Hey, vote for me because I'm Jasmine and I'm running." Why would I vote for you? Give them something to look forward to. Because anything that someone put in, they're expecting something out of it. So I agree with him on that part. On that part.
Definitely. So we're moving into November for our general election, and you and Jeremiah both being young individuals in two different counties, but you all are neighboring counties. What efforts are I guess say currently, in regards to giving back or just being able to inspire our young people? I know that there are several initiatives out there, but is there any particular one that you feel like we can drive in more as a community to work together towards to get our young people more involved?
Um, I think think there's a plethora of things that we could do to get people involved, but we also have to look at the risk of all things, because there are risks and things, because you just don't know where people headspaces are at. But I do believe in Williamsburg County itself, we need more activities for our kids to do, whether it be educational or recreational, to get them involved where they're spending more time on positive things and less time on negative things, which gives them more time to elevate and have promising futures. But as long as we keep it where, it's really nothing for them to do, they have to go find something to do.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, we're going to stay in the same rut that we're in. So I would say, make some entertainment things. I don't know, skating rink, or anything, something for these kids to do that's going to get them engaged in positivity, where they almost have no choice but to do positive things.
Absolutely.
Um, where they're seeing positive things. They're actually seeing the older people that they look up to, or the people, just a little bit above them, their age, doing great things and make them want to be involved in things. So, I've seen a lot of events and things that were happening, just past. And all of those things are great. I would say continue to do it, continue to do good things, but then be inclusive. Include everyone, because everyone is going through something. So I would say stay inclusive. Everything is not a separate thing or individual thing. We have to start including other people, because like I said before in my campaign, more heads is better than one. When you start putting a lot of people together, you can formulate great plans and great ideas, because everybody's brain width is different. Some people can think outside the box, far. They're so innovative.
Mhm.
So just gather people and get these thoughts. And I've met a lot of young kids that have so many ideas for Williamsburg County, and a lot of people have gotten shot down because of their ideas, and sometimes that make people tuck their tail. Um, so I would say, let some of these kids put these ideas out there. I know tonight they had a county meeting. Start participating in the meeting. See what they're talking about. Get more knowledgeable about the things that's going on around us. Know that you can go to your county meetings and bring up things that you would like to see in your community, and to a board of people, and they can hear what you got to say. They can vote on it. Don't just sit on your ideas and things that you think that could be beneficial. Let the people who can do something about it hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And definitely, wanting to make sure that, like you said, we're including everyone.
Yeah,
And we make sure that, it's not about this group particularly or that group or
yeah,
a new group or no group, so to speak.
right,
We
yeah,
want to make sure that everybody is involved. And I said it earlier, like it doesn't really matter in a sense. And like you said, there's risk. I'm saying that in a sense with precautions, who's leading. Like if it's Jasmine and I are leading the force of this initiative or this event, and Jeremiah say, "Hey, I just want to come and be on board." Like
right,
it's not a take charge effort. It's everybody. If you see it and
yeah,
want to get involved, reach out and get
yeah.
involved.
Reach
Like
out.
you don't have
Yeah,
to say, "Oh, that's Jasmine. I don't want to be involved in that." But then
yeah,
at the same time, we sit and say there's nothing to do.
yeah,
There's a lot of initiatives out there, and so if it's something we want to do to get our young people involved, with risks, everything is to be evaluated. Definitely make sure that we
yeah.
are definitely doing those things. So I appreciate that as well. Um, as we kind of come to a close, I just want to offer, is there anything else that you want to share as we talk about our young people, as we talk about getting them involved, and just continue to encourage them?
um Again, like I've been saying, I just want to let everyone know, no matter what you've been through, what your vices are, there's always room for change, room for growth. And never let anyone tell you that you cannot do something. Take me and everything that I've been through for example. You can do it. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm willing to talk to you. I'm a straight shooter, because all my life, the people in my life, they told me exactly what it is. They never hit the corners on me. If they saw an issue, they told me. And you have to be able to take critiques, listen to hear and listen to understand, and not just to hear what someone is saying. um Take your feelings out of a lot of things, because a lot of things can make you butt hurt. But you have to take your feelings out of a lot of things, and be able to look at different points of view. You have to have empathy for people. um you have to be willing to compromise, and it's okay, because compromising doesn't mean you're changing yourself. It just means you're going about things in a different way, in a different light. Keep pushing, keep going, keep God first. I'm first to say I grew up in the family. My mother raised me and my brother in church. But as I said, like growing up, that was something I frayed away from. As I got older and started having kids, I began going back to church. So I've learned what faith does. I fasted for the very first time in my life during this campaign, and it felt so amazing. It was just something that I felt, and it was more clear. My brain was more clear. I was hearing things, telling me, no, Jazz, don't do this, or yes, Jazz, do this. And even with the election, the day of the primary, we had our party, every all of my family members, supporters, and things, they came out, for us to watch the vote and watch the votes come in. And before everybody got there, I just bawled out crying. Like I was just so emotional. And I knew then, although I was very, very hopeful and I just knew I had it, I knew then that I wasn't going to get it. So when the numbers came, I wasn't surprised that I didn't win, because I already heard that voice in my ear. And God told me that, Jazz, this one right here, not it. I got something else for you. So he told me to just be still and just wait on your turn. You doing exactly what I need you to do. But just in that moment, that wasn't what was for me. So as I changed myself in this campaign, because there's a lot of things that I had to change and alter with myself with that campaign, I'm continuing to do that. I'm not stepping back. You might see me at a little engagement or something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna still be there, because I have to still be out there to engage with people. It's not, but he told me, this right here, Jazz, is not for you right now. Hold still. I got something else for you, but you got to continue to do the work, stay on the path that you're on, and don't let go. So I stayed true to my faith. I stayed true to everything that I was saying. I'm still pressing forward. Whenever I can make county meetings, I go to the meetings. If people call me, I'm giving whatever information I can. I'm still doing my due diligence, and I'm just waiting on that next door to open. And so I just encourage people to just continue to do what you're doing, and leave room for growth, and don't worry about errors, because just as sure as you're alive, you're going to make a mistake, and nobody's perfect. But you just don't go backwards. You continue to move forward, and you learn from every lesson and every experience. So when you get into that situation again, you know how to maneuver in it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was some very, very encouraging words. And I accept those just as well. And as I'm listening to you, I'm reminded that tonight conversation reminds us that leadership doesn't begin with the title.
Oh yeah.
It begins with a decision. And I both
Yes.
think both you and I and Jeremiah can attest to that when we threw ourselves out there to want to um, kind of lead our people, or be kind of the spokesperson, the voice for them. It started way before then. So
Yeah.
the title wasn't the locked in. That was just going to be then
Yeah.
happen.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and while that didn't succeed, again, the title didn't stop it. It just
Not at
allowed us
all.
to regroup,
Yeah.
and continue to remember the decision that we went in with.
Yeah.
And I love what you led with the faith of it,
Yeah.
beginning with that decision to first care.
Oh yeah.
Then you decided to want to serve, and at this point now you just have to show up.
Yep. That's
So
it.
I also say to individuals who are waiting to, you know, how do I give, myself permission to say I want to make a difference? You're already making a difference. You
Yeah.
just make that decision to do it. Make
Yeah.
that decision to want to serve, want to volunteer, support your community, get registered to vote, get other people registered to vote.
Yeah.
Every positive action will be a great impact long term. And
Oh
just
yeah.
as Jasmine said, in the moment may not be the moment, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one.
it will come. And
Yeah.
so, I thank you and Jeremiah for the work that you all are doing outside of your 9 to 5. I just thank you all for the awareness that you all are bringing to the communities, yet to our young people, and wanting just to continue to get them involved. Like, no matter what group individual belong to or what entity you work with, if you see it and want to be a part, offer yourself to it. If not,
Yeah.
don't lead with the negativity, because we don't want to continue to go backwards. We want
Yes.
to move forward, and that's what we should be about. Not the who's doing it. If you want to do it and want to be involved in it, just check in with those individuals. And if not, hey, it's okay too.
It's okay. Yeah.
But your stories tonight, I'm hopeful that you share lights on other young people. Yet some are seasonal people, because
Yeah.
every now and then we all need that nudge to be
Oh yeah.
reminded that we can regroup, we can
Yeah.
adjust, we could help support or get involved. And so thank you for what you
Thank you.
that
Welcome.
you
Thank you.
continue to do. And
Yeah.
I just encourage you to continue to follow what you're hearing, follow the voices that is positive around you, that will continue to push you into a greater um, direction, because it's yet to come.
Oh
You
yeah. Most
and
definitely.
I just applaud you, publicly here for the work that you've done over the
Thank
course of
you.
a couple of months, and just sticking with it.
Yeah.
All those moments wasn't always easy. Trust
Oh
me.
yeah.
Sometimes, like you say, some moments you want to have those moments, but
Yeah.
stay the course, because you're reminded of what is greater to come. And so, thank you again. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jeremiah. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in. One thing I love about being based in South Carolina, we have people from all over the
Mhm.
world tuning in. And so, I am just grateful, not just for South Carolina, but for everyone that tunes in. I'm hopeful that the guest that joins us or joins this platform can definitely be a word of encouragement to you.
Yeah.
To our viewers, if you and or someone that want to come on the platform, please reach out. This platform is, as we say, is come and take a seat at the table. And so we offer that to anyone that want to take a seat at the table. It don't have to be about politics. We're not just focused on politics. We are focused on everyday people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether that's Jasmine and Jeremiah that wants to talk more about their business and how they can help other people get involved, like she says, she don't want to be a crab in a bucket. So if she has some information about drawing blood or getting other people involved with it, here she is, and that can be an opportunity for you to come and take a seat at the table as well. And so thank you again for tuning in. I say to you all the time, until next time, continue to remember the path that you are creating, because you want to
Yes,
ensure
ma'am.
that that path others can follow. And so continue to make room so that they could do so. I say good night to each of you all, and continue to follow Broadcasting Results with Rouse. Until next
Yeah. All right. Good night.
time, good night.